Hello, Herman Cain.
Yes, sir. How are you?
What an honor to have you in the United States Virgin Islands on the phone.
You are too kind. It's good to talk to you. How you been?
Well, first of all, you're talking to somebody who is in your party. I'm National Committeeman of the Virgin Islands. And
I know that.
Well,
Congratulations.
So you have done your homework.
Yes, I have, sir.
Listen, I'll tell you one thing. I really enjoyed the process, of course, of you running in the primary, and you had so much to contribute, and you are deeply respected in the party. Talk to me a little bit about the challenges that you did have, and talk about the high points and the low points, and then let's get on to, again, the recommendation that you've made of Alan West and your endorsement of Mitt Romney. Talk a little bit about the campaign.
I'll be delighted to. As far as the challenges with respect to the campaign, I've always been a self-starter, a self-initiator. And just like in 2004, when I ran for the United States Senate, I did what most people don't do, and that is when I decided that I wanted to run for the office, and because I felt as if I could make a difference and I could connect with the people, I didn't ask permission from the party fathers, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And that gets you in trouble.
Tell me about
it. I'm not adverse to getting in trouble if I feel like I'm doing the right thing, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But as they saw my success, they also started to respect me for my success, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
And then, as a result, a lot of the barriers that would probably be thrown up for someone trying to make a statement.
Well, it looks like we lost you. It looks like we've got Herman Cain back on the line. Mr. Herman Cain, do you think that was a Democratic conspiracy?
Fred, I believe it was both a Republican conspiracy and a Democrat conspiracy.
You think it was a bipartisan effort to disconnect us?
That is exactly right.
Let me
whenever you start achieving success, expect somebody to not like it and try to disrupt it.
Do you know what we call it in the Virgin Islands? It's called crab in the barrel.
What in the barrel?
Crabs in the barrel. Have you ever watched crabs, like land crabs in the barrel?
Yes.
And when one starts getting to the top, the other ones pull them down.
I am familiar with the concept.
I'll bet you are.
That's exactly what happened, okay?
You know,
and now, as you know, Fred.
It's Holland. It's Holland. It's not Fred. It's Holland.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Listen, you stand corrected, and Fred actually is an easier name to remember, but it's Holland. You and I get along real great.
That is good. That is good. But as you know, we now as people who run as Republicans, who serve as Republicans, who work as Republicans, we now have the big task of trying to take back the White House, which means we got to try to find a way to bring this party together.
Absolutely. Let me just say to you, we had the same problem, and the U.S. territories supported Michael Steele, and obviously he's African American. And we really had that challenge, and I know this old boy concept that you're talking about, okay, within the party. I've been in the position that I am in for many, many years as National Committeeman, and we've always were pushing back, and particularly the territories represent with the Virgin Islands, African American, Puerto Rico, Hispanic American, and again, in the other side of the ocean, Guam and American Samoa, we're talking about Asian American. Why do you think this party has had so much difficulty, turning from vanilla to, again, let's say butterscotch?
I think it's because they don't understand what outreach really means.
Thank you.
That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
They think outreach, the good old boy network, they think outreach is putting together a committee of diverse individuals who do not look like them,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, put together a committee and try to figure out ways to pander to people of color.
Thank you.
You don't pander to people of color to get them to join your tent.
Mm-hmm.
Have solid solutions that address everybody's problems. Let me give you one big example, which is why I believe that my presidential bid became such a threat.
Mm-hmm.
My 999 Economic Growth and Jobs Plan didn't have but one color,
Sure.
green.
Green. Thank you. Thank you.
Green. If I had black people, Hispanics, whites excited about it.
Right. You created the
wasn't-
common denominator.
The
Green.
common denominator was green, which is the color of our currency.
Sure.
That's what caused people to want to support Herman Cain, along with some other factors, I will admit.
Sure.
But basically, I figured out a way to solve a problem that transcended ethnicity and color and even party.
And religion.
Because
Sure.
I had even a lot of disgruntled Democrats who were expressing to me personally, privately, because of the intimidation factor that that comes from the other side, that they were listening to me and that they were inclined to vote for me because of the ideas, the solutions that I put on the table. And
Absolutely.
so the party, even with your efforts for so many years, and I have been on these committees before, like you, they really just didn't understand it's all about how you're going to make life better for everybody.
Correct.
And that's the part that I don't think that they got. And I think that that's something that I brought to this race, even now after having ended my campaign.
Well, you know what? If you flip this into the Virgin Islands, this is a community of color. And I was in the legislature down here for 6 terms. And I don't look like you, okay? But we think the same way.
Yes.
And when you do this and you start talking to your own party and you say to your party, excuse me, the first thing they say is we need their votes. Excuse me, how about if it is the right thing to do? The votes come later. How does that sound? And I keep pitching that to the National Party because really, if you look at me, I'm a pragmatic individual because there are some issues that you have to look at, and you don't just vote always the party line. One of the issues that I dealt with in the Virgin Islands was, again, the increase of the minimum wage because there was such a disparity. That is not a Republican issue. But however, be championing this issue and bringing fairness means that when you look at issues, you don't just look at party affiliation, and I don't think you do either. Martin Luther King was a Republican, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
You know, a lot of African Americans don't understand that.
Yeah, they don't understand that, and many African Americans don't realize that they are more conservative than they are liberal, that they align more with a lot of the ideas and the ideologies of those that run as Republicans than they do of the Democrats, but they haven't taken time to take a look. I've often said, Holland, that, look, if you find a candidate where you agree on 7 out of 10 issues or 7 out of 10 solutions, you have probably found a winner.
Yep.
Don't look for 100% of the time that you are going to line up. And one of the reasons that, as you indicated earlier, they want to sell the brand Republican. The brand Republican has some damage to it.
Absolutely.
It's got to be repaired. Similarly, the Democrat brand has a lot of damage to it. And they are struggling and floundering right now, which means that we, those of us that run as Republicans and work as Republicans, need to take advantage of that right now.
Well, why is it? We're gonna have a conversation. Why do you think they've done such a good job of convincing minorities that they are the party to support? Because the Republicans only are a rich white party.
I think that they have done a better job because they have used pandering, class warfare, and giveaway programs to create the perception that they care more about with less advantage than the other party. Our party should not use those same tactics. Our party has not done a good job of educating people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we haven't done a good job of, because when people are properly informed about what the programs mean in terms of self-responsibility, in terms of empowerment to individuals, then we win those people over. I have people coming up to me all the time
Sure.
who are Black, African Americans, people of color, Hispanic,
Mm-hmm.
and saying that they now get it. But that's because they had to go and get it. In other words, the Republican Party does not do a good job of outreach. Those of us that happen not to be white, we reach in, which is why we stay with the party and we are trying to change it.
Well, you reach to the soul of the individual, which transcend color and transcend religion. But how would you define to an African community like we have here in Hispanic the difference between empowerment and entitlement?
Empowerment is teaching a man to fish.
Thank you.
Entitlement is simply giving a man a fish, one fish at a time.
Mm-hmm.
That is the difference. And empowerment is what I am about, which I know you are about.
Absolutely.
And it is about helping to empower people to be able to make themselves successful, as well as being able to help people to achieve their own definition of prosperity. That's what it is, and that's what it's about.
Let's see if we're on the same page.
Yeah.
We go back to slavery, and then we go back to what we are having today, and we're talking about, again, entitlement. Don't you think that entitlement today is modern-day economic bondage?
Absolutely. No question about it.
And there is a difference, isn't there? But when you say that, that's almost heresy, because if you keep people where they can't have upward mobility, what you're doing is you're basically controlling them, aren't you?
That's exactly what you're doing. I mean, let's take a couple of current examples that are in the news right now. I saw advertising on TV here in the States where one of the federal agencies was advertising and encouraging people to go and apply for earned income tax credit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I also saw heard commercials on the radio where the agriculture department was encouraging people to go and apply for food stamps. Come on down, we've got money. This is how they get people hooked on those entitlement programs.
Sure.
They actually go out and try to encourage people to become dependent upon those programs.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're absolutely right. It is the same as modern day. It's just modern day bondage. But a lot of people get caught in it and don't realize it until it's too late.
How do you develop courage? And we're talking about, you know as well as I know, you are probably personified the capitalist system, going ahead and doing it on your own. But how do you tell folks, again, of color, the fear factor, and how do you push back that fear factor? And we're talking about being able to take risk and being able to go ahead and help yourself to move forward in life.
The best way to develop that type of courage is to be successful. Mm-hmm. And the best way to be successful is one step at a time. I encourage people all the time to not only have goals and dreams, and there's a difference between your goals